Walls are not immoral.
President Trump with a deal to end the government shutdown that top Democrats are calling a non-starter and hostage-taking.
$5.7 billion for a strategic deployment of physical barriers or a wall. 3 years of legislative relief for 700,000 DACA recipients.
The temporary protections for so-called dreamers would not include a pathway to permanent legal status. And major dreamer groups and Democratic leaders are panning it. With the shutdown dragging on and his poll numbers sagging, this week Mr. Trump told his acting chief of staff, Mick Mulvaney, "We are getting crushed," according to the New York Times.
I've never seen the situation that America is in now. And a lot of it has to do with trust. I don't trust a lot of our politicians anymore.
And hanging over the nation and Mr. Trump's presidency, the New York Times report that the FBI opened an inquiry in 2017 into whether or not Mr. Trump was working as a Russian agent as president. The Washington Post report that President Trump has gone to extraordinary lengths to conceal his conversations with Russian President Vladimir Putin. The acknowledgement by the president's lawyer that someone on his campaign may have colluded with Russia.
I never said there was no collusion between the campaign or between people in the campaign.
Yes,
I have no idea.
And then there's the upcoming testimony of Mr. Trump's former longtime lawyer, Michael Cohen, to Congress.
Now to this new bombshell report.
After a BuzzFeed story claimed the special counsel has evidence that Mr. Trump directed Cohen to lie to Congress last summer about plans for a Trump Tower in Moscow, special counsel Robert Mueller issued a rare statement on Friday night refuting the story. Quote, BuzzFeed's description of specific statements to the special counsel's office and characterization of documents and testimony obtained by this office regarding Michael Cohen's congressional testimony are not accurate. The statement appeared to put the brakes on the growing number of Democrats in Congress who said that the allegations, if true, would be grounds for beginning impeachment proceedings immediately.
If the president directed Michael Cohen to lie to Congress, then that's a clear case of participating in perjury and obstruction of justice.
It's a total phony story, and I appreciate the special counsel coming out with a statement last night.
Hey, NBC News fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here, and then click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.